Hello Cubers, welcome to another Chill MTG Vintage Cube Draft. If you're here for Cube content, you've come to the right place. Dropping into this pick one, pack one. Not the strongest pack, but I do see one of my favorite 2-for-1s in the Vintage Cube, and that's K-Command. Puts us into 2 colors, though I do love Rakdos and Mardu archetypes. While not the greatest starting card, I love the value of K-Command, so happy to pick it up here. Let's see, second pick. I mean, there's Pest Infestation. We could go a lot of different directions here. Like, you do see the Night's Whisper. Night's Whisper is probably the more traditional follow-on to a first pick K command, as it's in black. Pest Infestation is very strong in the Vintage Cube. Check out my other video on Pest Infestation 101. And I'm just going to second pick this here and be happy about it. Now, I am going to start to worry about fixing if we're going to go 3 colors. So we'll need to prioritize that if we want to be playing both of these cards together. Ooh, okay, pack 3, another interesting choice. We have another great black card, Mind Twist. Not fun to play against, but definitely fun to cast. There's also a Fury, which, because of its evoke ability, is essentially a free spell if we need it to be, and free spells are always very strong. Just think about Force of Will. But then there's also a Grim Monolith. Grim Monolith ramping us out very effectively and keeping open. Something to consider. And there's also a Birds of Paradise in here. So a lot of different ways we could go. And though I'm a sucker for Fury, I think it answers a lot of situations where you need to get an effect without having to pay mana. You know, we can kill planeswalkers with it and we can kill creatures with it. So I'm going to pick up the Fury. Pairs well with the K command. Can pitch the K command if we need to. Not sure about that pick, but that's where we're at. So here, I think we need to be a little responsible. There's a couple triomes, though I don't want Plains or Island. Ignoble Hierarchs in the colors we're looking at. So we'll pick up Ignoble Hierarch. It can fix for all 3 of these Jund colors that we've picked so far. Plus the Exalted's pretty useful too. So happy to see Ignoble Hierarch here. These Modern Horizons cards have been very nice. Okay, here, definitely another few picks we can go with. Nissa Who Shakes the World is objectively the strongest card in this pack, but Nissa really wants to be played in a mono green deck. At most, maybe 2 colors, right? Because she only doubles the mana when you tap forests. Since it's looking like we're going to play 3 colors, I'm less incentivized to take Nissa. So other picks to look at, something like Assassin's Trophy, Finhorn Elves, even Lotus Petal to accelerate us out and fix. There's also a Rakdos Signet. Now, I am down a little bit on Signets, but I'm thinking that I'm going to want the filtering, the fixing that this Signet can provide. So I think I'll pick it up here, though. If you don't pick up Signets in your draft, I think that's an okay choice because they open you up to getting kind of blown out by the opponent. All right, Goldspan Dragon, Hunt Master if we really want to be red-green there, and an Unholy Heat. We already have some removal, but Unholy Heat's pretty decent just in terms of its mana efficiency, so I want to pick up some mana-efficient plays here. So let's get the Unholy Heat. Okay, yeah, here's what we're looking for. There's a Bayou. We need to pick that. There's also a Magda. Magda fixes for color by making treasures, but I want the Bayou. I want to be able to cast my spells, so we're going to prioritize fixing for the rest of this draft. And then there, right on time, is a Bloodstained Mire. Can fetch out the Bayou, perfect. Let's snap that up. Here in this pack, I see Shriekmaw, and that's about it. There's an Avalanche Riders, but it's a little expensive. Avalanche Riders starting to show its age a little bit. We'll take the Shriekmaw, just a good kill spell, or 2-for-1 if you can cast it for its full mana cost. All right, let's see, Jetmir's Garden, not the Triland we want. So the really only pick is Voltaic Visionary. That card's okay. It's pretty underpowered and is very slow. Here's a Mesmeric Fiend. Would love the Showdown of the Scolds, but we're not in white. Again, low mana value, interactive card. It's where we want to be here. I don't want to get run over playing Jund. Our mana base is going to fight us. We need to prioritize fixing, which means we need to disrupt and get some things on the board early in the game, so we can continue to accrue that value that Jund likes to accrue. Here's a Pack Rat. Happy to take Pack Rat. Again, fits right in to that Jund game plan. Yeah, look at that. Wow. Nissa Who Shakes the World wheeling means there's not another green player for sure, or mono green player. I'm still not going to pick it up. Let's pick this Assassin's Trophy as a good answer to threats. There's a Tree Speaker. I don't think Corpse Dance is for us. I'm not sure Tree Speaker is for us either, but it's in the right colors. And a Silver Blade for pick 15. Straight to the sidebar. All right, pack 2. Wow. Ding ding. Black Lotus, Mox Jet. What do we take here? You love seeing an on-color Mox, but passing a Black Lotus I don't think is in the cards. Looking at what we have so far, not a lot of payoffs for casting Black Lotus, or for using Black Lotus. I don't have really 4 or 5 mana value spells right now besides something like Fury. I mean, this is actually a decision here. Mox Jet is just going to be good, period. Lotus is hard to play. I've played Lotus wrong, but I'm going to pick Lotus here. We're not going to pass it. And we're going to see if we can leverage the power of Lotus here as we move on. Here's a Stomping Ground, also a Blackleaf Cliffs. Again, prioritizing the fixing. This makes our Bloodstained Mire a effective tri-land. So really happy to pick that one up. This next pack, there's a Wrenn 6, also a Rex Sage. We already have Pest Infestation, so I don't think we need the Rex Sage. So I want to pick up the value Planeswalker here. We have 1 fetch that we can recur. And sometimes Wrenn 6 is just good for pinging down your opponent's 1-drops. They be either elves or aggressive red creatures. Here we have a decision between Dark Confident or Incinerate. We already have the Unholy Heat. We could use another Incinerate, but Dark Confident's card draw value is very high, so I want to pick up Bob here. Our mana value curve here is still quite low, so I don't think Bob is a liability. So I think he's an asset, so we'll pick him up. Okay, here's an interesting decision. So I think the Jund game plan, Bone Shards, just fits nicely with where we want to be. There's also a Strip Mine. I would probably take Bone Shards here, except for the fact that we've already picked up a Wrenn 6. So Strip Mine really goes up in value. If you can recur Strip Mine, using Wren's uptick ability, then that's going to be pretty backbreaking for your opponent. So let's actually pick up the Strip Mine. Again, this is informed by the fact that we have a Wrenn 6 already. If we didn't, I'd probably just pick up Bone Shards, because our mana is already going to be difficult enough, and Strip Mine does not tap for colored mana, right? So it's got to be worth it. We got to have some extra value there, and I think we just make that cutoff between Strip Mine and Wrenn 6. Here for this pack, there's Inferno Titan if we're looking for top end, and there's an Infernal Grasp. So Inferno versus Infernal. Let's just take the removal spell. The Inferno Titan would be nice to have for some top end, but I want more removal. Here's Vraska. Kind of unique to the Golgari colors, right? Most people won't take that. Maybe Vraska would have wheeled, but we'll pick it up here. The other considerations in that pack were Burst Lightning and Lavamancer. Here's a Glorybringer. Yeah, I don't think we need Everflowing Chalice. Don't want more colorless mana sources. Glorybringer's fine top end and removal. All right, well, there is a Xayatoria's Proving Ground, which is all 3 of our colors. It's also a Thunder Mob, but since we just picked up the Glorybringer, let's get this fetchable tri-land that is the exact right colors. Another great decision between Boseiju and Blackleaf Cliffs. There's RB if we want sideboard action against blue, but I think I think Blackleaf Cliffs is probably correct here, just for more fixing. But I do like the spell/land nature of Boseiju, so let's grab the Boseiju here. We'll just be poised pretty well against artifacts with something like Boseiju and Pest Infestation. All right, there's a Rex Sage as well. Only pick for us here. We'll pick it up. An Incinerate coming around. Love to see that. And here's that Bone Shard. So glad we picked up the Strip Mine, because the Bone Shard's wheeled. We'll throw the Mortars in the sideboard. Ooh, and a Lavamancer for 15th pick. Yeah, we'll pick that up. All right, pack 3, Emrakul. Pretty sweet. Not going to play him. Choices here, I think we just got to take the Mana Vault, right? There's Mana Vault, Gaia's Cradle, Snuff Out, Shield Breaker, even Animate Dead, right? We have enough Artifact Destruction, so I don't think we need Shield Breaker. Again, Vintage Cube equals acceleration, so picking up the Mana Vault here is just going to enable more plays by us. This pack, kind of a miss. I'm not a huge fan of Ophiomancer. Lurrus is okay. We don't have a lot of permanents necessarily for 1 or 2 mana value. We're definitely not companioning Lurrus. Burgi also okay. Doesn't really fit with our game plan. Yeah, there's just, I think the pick is between either Burgi or potentially Ophiomancer. So I'll just pick up the Burgi here and see what else pack 3 gets. Ooh, a 3rd pick Mox Emerald. Now, it's really sad to have to pass on Chandra, Torch of Defiance, or even something like Primetime. But we're not passing an on-color Mox. We've been pretty good in power here. So that's 2 pieces of power. Love to see it. And what was that pack that we got a 3rd pick Mox? That's insane. Here for pick 4 and pack 3, there's the Skull Clamp. Okay, so now Skull Clamp works pretty well with Ophiomancer. So kind of kicking myself for not taking Ophiomancer and with Burgie instead. But we will pick up Skull Clamp. Just so much card advantage. I think Skull Clamp's just stronger than Ancestral Recall. Go ahead and at me down in the comments if you disagree. But my argument is Skull Clamp goes in almost any deck because it's colorless, and it can draw you more cards than Ancestral Recall over the long term. So there's a green fetch. You know, the green fetch would be a tri-land as well. A Gruul Signet, but I definitely don't want 2 Signets. Vamp Tutor, there's also a Kroxa. Now, I think this is probably a mispick. I think Kroxa will wheel. I think it should have wheeled. I think we probably should have picked up the green fetch there and then picked up Kroxa on the wheel. But Kroxa is usually not a, top half of the pack pick. It's more of a bottom half pick. So definitely some improvement to be made in my drafting. There's a Grist the Hunger Tide and a Duress. If that Duress was a Thoughtseize, maybe I would have taken it there. But I love Grist, Planeswalker value in the colors we want. Playing Jund is so fun, right? Destroy your things some more, burn your things. Love this color combination. There's a Blood Crypt. I think we want to take Blood Crypt here. I mean, Lily's great. Bitter Blossom's great with Skull Clamp. We really could have gone anyway. I don't think we're a Lily deck, but Bitter Blossom with Skull Clamp, we got some. I mean, that's defensible, but I want the Blood Crypt. I want to play these spells on time. I want great mana, and it's just going to help out a lot. There's a Rabble Master. I think that's our pick here. Don't really need Reanimate. Definitely don't want the Worn Power Stone. Olivia Crimson Bride's kind of whatever. So we'll pick up the Rabble Man here. And here's a Gaia's Cradle. I am all for playing Gaia's Cradle in non-green decks. Like I'll play it in a mono white or mono red deck. But since we're even playing green here, it's just that much better. Gaia's Cradle is just so amazing in terms of additional mana for really very little cost on our end. So other than the fact that it only taps for green, I think this is a must include. All right, looks like Lurrus is our wheel from pack 3 here. Throw them in the sideboard. Again, I don't think we have enough 1 or 2 mana value permanents to warrant including Lurrus. Now there's an Overgrown Tomb. Yep, love that wheel. Okay, I'm very happy with our mana. The fact that we have an on-color Mox and a Black Lotus, that's kind of just gravy on top. But we've already picked 9 lands so far this draft. This is great. Love picking up lands like that. It's just really making more of our picks in this draft matter for our deck. Here's next pack. We'll pick the Faithless Looting. I think it's a great card. It's going to help turn on things like Kroxa. Now here's a decision between Witherbloom Command versus Zealous Conscripts. I do want some more top end. Zealous Conscripts fits that bill. Can steal Planeswalkers, can steal big threat creatures. Witherbloom Command, though, pretty versatile in the vintage cube environment, so definitely don't overlook that card. But let's go pick up the Zealous Conscripts here, and then Seasoned Pyromancer, love seeing that wheel, and then Recruiter. Okay, great. Wow, that draft was really fun, and I'm excited to build this deck. Here's the deck. Really excited about the number of non-basic lands that we drafted. We only had to put 7 basics plus a Mox Emerald in this deck to make it usable. I really love this mana base. On top of that, we got 2 pieces of power, Mox Emerald, Black Lotus, and then just so much interaction and removal there on the bottom half of the deck. Excited to take this Jund Lotus deck into the league. Here, let's jump into match 1. All right, welcome to match 1, game 1. We got our Jund Lotus deck here, and let's keep this hand. Faithless Looting is going to help us filter through some stuff. No black mana yet for K Command. Let's see what we draw off the Faithless Looting. All right, Seasoned Pyromancer and Incinerate. This is interesting. What do we keep here? Our best threat is Fury. Seasoned Pyromancer will be able to cast earlier. Probably put back K Command because we have no black mana. And then my guess is the Pyromancer because we can exile it from the graveyard potentially. Gaia's Cradle also not looking too hot right now, though Gaia's Cradle gets a lot better with Seasoned Pyromancer. Let's just put K Command and Seasoned Pyromancer back since we can at least exile the Pyromancer later in the game and we'll pass the turn. All right, Xander's Lounge from the opponent. We draw an Unholy Heat. We'll play our Stomping Ground. Untapped, this will allow us to play both the Skull Clamp and hold up Unholy Heat for anything from our opponent. We'll pass it back. Rakdos Signet. Okay. Wish I could have a Rex Sage here. Though we'll need another mana to play a Rec Sage. All right, there's a Blood Crypt. Okay, so can't flash back. So we can't cast our Culligan's command since we ditched it now that we have black mana. But we'll just pass. And then top from the opponent. Who passes back? Interesting. Okay, let's start by flashing back Faithless Looting here. Ooh, Spell Pierce. Okay. No, we will not pay the 2. And looks like opponent just passes through the turn again. All right, well, we have 5 mana up now. Oh, okay. Nope. Looks like we're getting clicked here. Yep, there's Vendilion Click. So opponent will get to look at our hand. Let's see if they have us lose one of these cards and draw a new one. Doesn't look like they do. We'll have a lot of card advantage here if we flash back Seasoned Pyromancer and then start attaching the Skull Clamp to it. All right, and just passing through the turn. I didn't play a land drop there, which is kind of interesting. Expressive Iteration, okay. It's fine in this spot where we're not really doing anything to pressure our opponent. And they exile Fable. All right, opponent attacks with Click. I'm just going to burn this out with Unholy Heat. I don't want to start losing life to Click. And then Island comes down, and they cast their Fable. Yep, okay. But we'll get our 5th land drop down now, and we'll hard cast Fury. This will get the Shaman token off the board, no value that way for our opponent. And a 3/3 double striker will put on a significant amount of pressure. All right, opponent discards Gilded Lotus using Fable's 2nd chapter. Ooh, all right, then a Worm Coil Engine. Okay, well, we're going to have to figure out how to get through this one. All right, we draw Bayou. Well, let's get Grist down. So we'll plus on Grist, make an insect token. We could immediately draw right now with the Skull Clamp if we wanted to, but I want blockers up, I think, for Grist. I want to use this insect token somehow, probably to kill the Worm Coil. I'm going to attach the Skull Clamp here to the Fury. I'm anticipating the opponent will attack with their Worm Coil engine, and I'm happy to trade a Fury for a Worm Coil. So we're still going to have to get through the Worm Coil tokens. This time now, Fable flips into Reflection of Kiki Jiki. That card's bonkers. Glad that doesn't have haste. If Fable flipped and Reflection had haste, that would be insane because we'd be losing right now for sure with double Worm Coil engine. All right, then an opponent casts Mindslaver. And then Welder. Okay, so kind of snazzy deck here. A little Welder lock combo going on. An opponent doesn't attack with Worm Coil Engine, so we're going to have to... I mean, I'm not super worried about Mindslaver. We're not going to have a lot of cards in hand. But let's start here, I think. I do not want to get Mindslaver locked with the Goblin Welder, nor do I want Reflection of Kiki Jiki to be making copies of Worm Coil Engine. So I got to get one of those off the battlefield. So let's incinerate the Reflection. Oh, wow. All right. Zealous Conscript's going to come in real handy with the sack outlet that Grist provides. And this is a pretty sick line of play here. So let's steal the Worm Coil Engine with Zealous Conscripts, and then we can get in for some attacks. And then post-combat, we're going to downtick on Grist, sacking the Worm Coil Engine to kill the Welder token. And we're going to get the Worm Coil tokens instead of our opponent. That's just brutal. Conscript was an amazing draw there. And it looks like our opponent just takes a bazillion damage. Doesn't block with Welder. They're down to 3. They just took 17 damage, which is pretty insane. Here we'll sack the engine like we said and target the Welder. We get the tokens. Welder goes away. If we want to be really greedy, so I'm not going to move the Skull Clamp here because we can get Mindslavered next turn, and I'd rather make the opponent spend a mana. Even though I mean we have Gaia's Cradle out, so I don't know. When you have Mindslaver on the other side of the battlefield, it's kind of hard to play around. All right, opponent does activate Mindslaver, so they'll get our turn next turn. Spins top. It's going to be hard for opponents to get out of this, though. They are at 3. All of our creatures deal at least 3 damage, except for the insect token. All right, so opponent's got control now. We draw a Pack Rat. All right, and they just give up. It's kind of weird how they wouldn't at least downtick the grist, kill something. Who knows what they could have drawn. Maybe a little early concede there from the opponent. But man, Zealous Conscript stealing your Wormcoil Engine and then sacking it with grist. I'll take it. All right, game 2. We are on the draw. We do not have another red card to evoke the Fury off of. And we don't have any fast mana. We're kind of a mana short. So let's actually mulligan that hand. This hand, a lot more mana for sure. No black mana for the Bone Shards, but I don't want to go to 5, so we'll keep this. OP leads on Xander's Lounge. Yeah, that's going to get strip mined. We draw a Stomping Ground, so we know we'll at least be able to play the Wreck Sage. And hoping that that strip mine sets our opponent back pretty badly on their mana fixing. So yeah, they just play an island now. Wrenn and 6 was an awesome draw. If we can get Wrenn and 6 on board and start recurring the strip mine, that'll be fun for us. Mountain Pass for the opponent. And there's a Fury as well. So let's play Wrenn. Wrenn gets Spell Pierce. That's too bad. So no recurring strip mine. Alright. Over to you, OP. Island Pass again. Are we going to get clicked? No, don't get clicked. Alright, there's black mana. No real targets for the Wreck Sage yet, so I'm going to save it, not run it out. We'll just play Blood Crypt tapped and pass back. Alright, opponent cycles Shark Typhoon for 1. 19 more turns, and we'll be dying to this. Okay, now opponent plays Urza's Saga into Coercive Portal. Alright, much better. For them. Now at least we have targets for this Wreck Sage, but we draw Faithless Looting, so let's loot. We draw a tap land and a Pyromancer. I don't want the tap land. I want to start playing my stuff. I guess we just ditch the Pyromancer as well, since we can exile it from the graveyard, and then we'll play our 4th land here and cast Wreck Sage, and we're going to get this Coercive Portal. I know we can target the Urza Saga, but I don't want our opponent drawing more cards. With the Urza Saga making creatures, I think we can deal with the creatures with our Fury, Glorybringer, and Bone Shards, but Wreck Sage was our only answer for that Coercive Portal. Our opponent gets in there again with the Shark. 18 more turns and counting. Hangerback Walker for 1. Ooh, and we draw a Boseiju. We could target the Hangerback Walker with the Boseiju, or we could also target the Urza Saga. Now, our opponent's got 2 mana up, so I know they're going to activate Saga. Targeting the Saga with Boseiju will at least keep 1 construct and 1 other artifact off the battlefield. The other thing is, I don't really want this Hangerback Walker getting any bigger either, because when it dies, it's going to pump those constructs. But I'm thinking if we target the Urza Saga with the Boseiju, they'll activate, and then we could evoke the Fury, but then we're just left with the Bone Shards in hand. Like, that's not great. Maybe we could sack Wreck Sage to the Bone Shards and use Bone Shards here. So I'm going to make the opponent make their construct here. I'm going to target Urza Saga with Boseiju. I know they're going to activate. They do. And then what I think I'll do here is I'll attack with the Wreck Sage. Yeah, let's go. Maybe they'll block. Let's hope they block. They do block. Wow. No? All right, that would have been awesome. I would have taken it. So now post-combat, we'll cast Bone Shards on the Hangerback. I don't want to get bigger. And we'll sack the Wreck Sage because I like both these red cards in hand. Any land, and we are in action here with these 2 5-drops in hand. We'll pass it back. I mean, some glorious targets on the other side of the board here for Fury. When it plays Izzet Signet, we can still clear the board with Fury if we did 2, but I guess we just get the Glorybringer down and exert on the construct token. It may have been better to play Fury with 2 damage on the construct and a damage on each of the other creatures, because the construct would still have died. Good old Hasty Dragon. Love Glorybringer. Opponent gets in there again. It's got us down to 11. Plays a tap land and passes. Ooh, we dropped Bob. Pretty good. Yeah, it definitely would have been better to use the Fury to get rid of those 3 creatures, because now we're using the Fury to get rid of the same creatures that we could have gotten rid of last turn, and we could be, casting a Hasty Glorybringer and not exerting it. So probably a little misorder there, or a less than ideal order of playing our creatures. All right, opponent's got to do something to get back in this. Upheaval. Well, all right, upheaval and is it Signet? We don't have any fast mana on our hand, and we didn't draw any, so I guess we'll just play a tap land and pass. We'll ditch the forest. Don't need more with our Bayou and our Stomping Ground in hand. I will just get Bob on lawn, however. We got 2 of our 5 drops in our hand. The only other 5 drop is Zealous Conscripts, so I'm not too worried about what we're drawing here off of Bob. And opponent's not doing anything. They're just playing lands and saying go. Nice. We get our Mox Emerald off of Bob. It's going to get us 1 turn closer to getting our 5 drops back down on the battlefield. And we'll get in there with the Confident. No plays. We'll hold up Assassin's Trophy. Nice little insurance there in our hand if there's some sort of shenanigans like Kiki Twin going on the other side of the battlefield. Pest Infestation was also a nice draw, and so was Cake Man. Pest Infestation only cost us 1 life. That was great. Let's see here. If we get the Hasty Dragon Glorybringer on the battlefield now, it's a 2-turn clock because we can get in there for 6 and then 6 again. All right, opponent's got to have an answer right here, right now. Time Spiral. All right. We draw Black Lotus, Bone Shards, Infernal Grasp, and Cake Man. Well, I'm glad they don't have an answer to our creatures, and that'll do it. All right, pretty easy, straightforward match 1. Let's go get some more action here in match 2. All right, match 2, we are on the playing Watsy Daniel X. Wonder if that's an employee. And oh man, check out this opening hand. We got both pieces of our power, Lotus and Emerald, a Fury, Vraska, and some lands. Well, this is a snap keep. The question is, what is our turn 1 play? And we could turn 1 out of Vraska, but I don't think that's the strongest thing we could do. I kind of want to take it a little slow. We could get punished here if our opponent thought seizes, but I want to kind of let the board develop a little bit more and see what we can do for our turn 2. All right, opponent leads out Emerald, Forest into Devoted Druid. All right, well, I'm glad I held back because now we can hard cast this Fury turn 2 using the Lotus sacked for red. And this will let us get some value out of Fury. Pretty aggressive 3/3 double striker on the board, plus destroying our opponent's Devoted Druid. And then next turn with the Overgrown Tomb in hand, we can get a turn 3 Vraska down. This is pretty nuts. I mean, I'm sure opponent thought that they were going to be in great shape with a turn 1 Mox into Mana Dork, but you're not going to be as good a shape as we are here with our Lotus Emerald opener. All right, opponent gets Sylvan Library down. That looks like a good target for Vraska, followed by an island. Vraska could also blow up the Mox Pearl, and so it's just what do we want to restrict our opponent from? And I think let's restrict our opponent from card draw. We can restrict them on mana, we could restrict them on card draw. You could argue that we're going to kind of hurt our opponent's life total here with the Fury, and the Sylvan Library won't be as valuable, but I really don't want them to even be able to filter with the library. So let's down tick here on the library, casting the Vraska, and we'll pass the turn back. Pretty awesome turn 2 and 3 for us. And then the opponent just gives up. I don't blame them. Okay, well, that game went just amazing. And let's go ahead and head on into game 2. All right, on the draw this time. And another snap keep here with Mox Emerald and some permanents to play. We can get a turn 1 Pack Rat down. And sometimes turn 1 Pack Rat's just good enough. We draw Fury as well, which means we can evoke Fury if things go really sideways. Turn 1 Pack Rat, pass. I'm kind of medium on Pack Rat. Sometimes I'm a little low. Sometimes Pack Rat performs really well. I'm not really sure what to make of the card. Like, I know it's good if left unanswered. All right, opponent casts turn 2 Sylvan. We draw a Shriekmaw. I think I just want to activate Pack Rat here. And Guy's Cradle's going to get a little crazy with a bunch of extra Pack Rat tokens running around. But yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about Pack Rat. I've considered cutting it from my own cube, but it performs well. It's a good discard outlet. I just, sometimes pack ratting turn 1 can get a little old. So we're going to go on the pack rat plan here, I think. Guy's Cradle just, like I said, amazing. Our opponent will get to draw some extra cards with Sylvan, see if they pay the life. They do not. I always think that's kind of a mistake. You usually always want to pay the life, at least for 1 card with Sylvan Library. We draw Bloodstained Mire. We can play that. And we'll get in here with both our pack rats. And we will, again, discard a card to make another pack rat token. I think I want to hold on to the mountain so I could hard cast Fury or Glorybringer. I guess we ditch like Glorybringer. We can hard cast Fury, we can hard cast Shriekmaw next turn if we need to, or we can just stay on the pack rat plan. Opponent just takes it, so, you know, Sylvan Library, they probably only get about one more turn where they can draw cards off of Sylvan. All right, they again do not draw any extra cards, so just using Sylvan as kind of a filter, which is fine, but what they really need to do is find an answer for this board of pack rats, and unfortunately, I don't think there's like a green-blue board wipe answer. I mean, Upheaval, but they're ways away from that. All right, opponent casts Glen Alendra. Does not have a blue mana up to use Glen's ability. All right, well, there's a Faithless Looting. So, unfortunately, because Glen persists, we cannot kill our opponent this turn. We could evoke Fury, but Glen's still going to come back. To kill our opponent this turn, we would need to also discard a card. I think the most mana-efficient play here is just to evoke the Shriekmaw. I want to try to win this turn, but I just don't think there's a way because of persist. So we'll just attack. Let's see if the opponent blocks. If they don't block, we can win. But yeah, okay, I expect them to block. So we're still going to pitch a card here, and I'm going to pitch Faithless Looting since we can cast it from the graveyard anyways. And then what we can do second main is we can still evoke the Shriekmaw to get rid of Glen Alendra completely. So we'll make another token here. Opponent's still taking 8 damage, which means they cannot draw off a library, which is important. Glen persists, so we will re-evoke the Shriekmaw. I love having these evoke creatures in hand. They're so powerful. See you, Glen. And we'll say go to the opponent. Yeah, I'm not aware of a single card that gets them out of this. I suppose they could play a land and cast a Deranged Tournament and have enough blockers. But that's a losing proposition. Yeah, okay. So they did not find an answer, and we quickly take down match 2. All right, welcome to match 3. We're in the finals for the trophy with our Jund Lotus deck, and this hand is a snap keep. Plenty of 1-drops to play. Our opponent leads on Island. We can either lead on Faithless Looting or Ignoble Hierarch, and ooh, we drew a Kroxa. I think I want to lead on Ignoble Hierarch. This will allow us to play both a 2-drop and Faithless Looting the next turn. Second island from the opponent into Jite. All right, that's a little scary. We can just lead out on Kroxa is fine. Make our opponent discard. That might give us some more information as to what kind of deck our opponent's playing. It's not very often you see double island into Jite. Yeah, so let's get Kroxa down, see what our opponent discards, and that can help inform our Faithless Looting loot. All right, so Titan hits the board, not escaped. We'll have to sacrifice it. An opponent discards Time Spiral. Wow. Not often you see Time Spiral and GTA in the same deck. All right, we'll shock out this dual land. We'll Faithless Looting, and then boom, there's Pest Infestation. So yeah, let's ditch this top land, and I think we just ditch, let's see, Pack Rat? The Assassin's Trophy? I don't know if we're on the Pack Rat plan. Assassin's Trophy could also answer GTA. Yeah, let's just get rid of the top land and the Pack Rat. All right, so that was pretty good Faithless Looting. Plus, we put additional cards in the graveyard for Kroxa later. All right, there's a green land. Okay, and then pass. Just straight passes. Interesting. So we can cast Pest Infestation for 1 here and play around something like Daze by shocking in this Overgrown Tomb. I think that's the only counter magic we can play around. The other option is to ignore the GTA for right now and just hold up removal for whatever creature they want to play. But getting some pests on the board will actually just be helpful. I mean, the Ignoble Hierarch has Exalted, so these pests, a pest can attack for 2. Yeah, so let's shock in the Overgrown Tomb, playing around Dazed, and we'll cast just Pest Invitation for 1. I do not want this GTA on our opponent's board. And let's hope this resolves, huh? I love Pest Infestation. Great card. All right, it resolves. Nice. GTA down and 2 pest tokens on our side. Third island, and they slam an Oracle with another island on top. All right, so they get some immediate Oracle value. We know they're drawing a forest. That Oracle is not long for this world. I'm not going to let it sit around. So perfect Incinerate target. And I'm happy to just ditch this Assassin's Trophy. Let's get this Seasoned Pyromancer on the board to get 2 fresh cards. This will put additional cards in our graveyard for Kroxa. And we draw a Lavamancer and a Bone Shards. Nice. And we'll just get in there with 1 pest token with the Exalted trigger, and we'll pass it back. So we can escape Kroxa next turn. Bone Shards was a great draw with that elemental token. All right, Whisperword Elemental from the opponent. It's going to make them a 2/2 manifest token. We get Boseiju. Can we do all the things? We can do all the things. So we can both escape Kroxa here, and we can cast Bone Shards on the Whisperword Elemental. Definitely want to get that off the battlefield here. So deal some more damage to the opponent, plus it'll get another card out of their hand. They ditch Venser. Okay, glad to see it. And then we'll Bone Shards here, and we'll sack the Elemental token. Whisperword down, and now we can... I'm okay to attack. This was a mistake. Yeah, definitely a punt, so let's mark it on the counter. I assumed I would get exalted somehow with attacking with 2. I don't know what I was thinking. That was just a freebie for the opponent, so should have just attacked with the Pyromancer there. Another land for the opponent. So opponent just has 1 card in hand, and we are holding a Grim Lavamancer, which I like, and this Kroxa is going to start getting value. Like, they're going to have to discard. All right, Glorybringer was pretty sweet. I'm just going to hold the Boseiju. It's highly unlikely they have a Daze in hand, so if we run into Daze, then we get dazed here. But I want to play this Glorybringer and Exert and get in there for a bajillion damage. All right, Mystic Confluence. Okay, so that was kind of the worst of all worlds there, because they counter our spell, they draw a card, and they return Kroxa to our hand. We won't make the same mistake twice. We'll just attack with an Exalted Seasoned Pyromancer. Opponent takes it, and we'll pass it back. Smuggler's Copter. That's a pretty good draw, but we are holding Boseiju, and I'm not going to let our opponent start to filter off of the Smuggler's Copter. So let's start with getting rid of that Copter. This will turn on our attacks, and I'll just get... We can get Boseiju and Grim Lavamancer down, just for the added damage to the opponent. Really liked, how we kind of tore apart our opponent's hand with Kroxa there. It was pretty nice. And we'll play our whole hand, and we'll get in again with the Seasoned Pyromancer Exalted. Got our opponent on a little bit of a clock. With Grim Lavamancer active next turn, we're close to lethal. Yeah, okay. That'll do it. Let's head on to game 2. All right, game 2 in the finals here. We are on the draw, and this is a keeper. We have turn 2 Dark Confident. Would love to see some fast mana, but, I'll take a playable hand when we get it. We got removal in Mizium Mortars, Pest Infestation, lots of removal. Love this Jund removal suite we're running here. Opponent plays Caryatid, so the 1 card we can't remove. Good old Hexproof. And I'm going to play out the Voltaic Visionary here just because it attacks for 3, and we can attack through that Caryatid. We can get Dark Confident down next turn. Just want to put some pressure on the opponent here. Bone Shards, another targeted removal spell. So glad we played this Voltaic. So we'll get in there. And looks like opponent has a response. Venser. All right. I'm happy to trade with the Venser. They return our Proving Ground to our hand. So in response, I'm just going to float mana, and we're just going to kill this Venser here. That way we won't lose our Voltaic Visionary. We haven't played a land yet this turn, so that was basically free. Yeah, we're down 1 land drop, but that worked out. All right, fully cast Mole Drifter from the opponent. That was pretty good. That'll draw him a couple. I think to keep up, we're going to need to get... Ooh, Fury. Nice. We're going to need to get our Bob online here. I don't want to lose card advantage. I'm debating whether or not to... let's just top this Voltaic Visionary, see what we excel. An Assassin's Trophy. I want to get Bob on the battlefield. If we play it, though, we'll have a pretty good attacker. So I guess we can just use it and kill the Mole Drifter. They already kind of have manas. This will flip our Voltaic. And we'll just play a tap land now and pass it back. We could have just skipped there and played Bob. I guess this is this is the most valued long term. All right, opponent plays Oracle of Moldiah, followed up by 2 lands, and they got a Land War on top. Still can't target the Sylvan Caryatid, which is kind of driving me nuts. We get a Bloodstained Mire. First, let's just attack with the Voltaic. Make them take 4, unless they'd like to chump. They choose not to chump. Now here in second main, I think we can just lead and get this Dark Confident down. Cast Bob. Ooh, opponent Mana Leaks. All right, so Bob not long for this world. All right, we kind of have 2 options here, I think. We can cast Mizium Mortars on Oracle, but maybe it makes more sense to save it. We also can be super greedy. We know they have a Llanowar on top, and we can save our Mizium Mortars for later by... because we know we want to hard cast Fury next turn. All right, so now opponent draws that Llanowar. They get an Edric Spymaster on the battlefield. All right, kind of getting a little bit punished here Actually getting a lot of punished here. Because now they're going to draw the mana drain they have on top of their deck. They draw into Time Spiral. They play their Land War. Now I don't want to hardcast Fury into Mana Drain and Time Spiral. We draw Mana Vault. Let's just lead out on that. Maybe they'll counter it. They don't. Now if we cast an overloaded Mizzy Mortis, this is just playing straight into, the Mana Drain we know they have. This is like a slow motion train wreck. We'll attack with the Voltaic. I'm really not happy with that line of play that we did here. We got punished knowing they had Mana Drain in hand. I think we should have tried to done something to bait out that Mana Drain. Because if they cast Time Spiral next turn, we're going to lose our hand anyway. So let's just mark the punt counter again. That was just pretty sloppy. We can get rid of the Edric though. Reduce some card draw. We'll ditch the Pest Infestation to pay for Bone Shards. Our opponent now is going to get a bajillion mana. So 6. Ooh, they only get 2? Oh, I didn't know that. So Overload does not count to Mana Drain. I did not know that. They only get the 2 mana for the mana value of the spell. I mean, they still have Time Spiral, which is still pretty good. I mean, I'm going to be happy to draw 7 cards here. So they're going to Time Spiral. They're going to untap with it. We each had a fresh grip. Black Lotus, good for us. Faithless Looting, also really good, though, I think. That's going to really help with the card filtering selection. We know they have Edric on top, so we're going to want to get rid of a bunch of creatures on our opponent's side as we can, so they don't draw a bunch of cards by attacking. Voltaic cannot block, by the way. And then opponent gets down the Soul Ring. Not as impactful this late in the game on turn 7. And then a Noble Hierarch. Then followed by a Glen Elendra. Well, that's pretty good because they got 2 islands untapped. Yeah, if you want to listen to a podcast about powerful cards, specifically about Soul Ring and how it scales, go ahead and give the Uber Cube pod a listen on Spotify. And one of their latest episodes relating to powerful cards talks about that. All right, we draw a Strip Mine. We will not pay for Mana Vault. Let's try to Faithless Loot. Opponent may counter this. They don't. Wow. Let's just ditch a couple lands. We have up to 8 mana right now. Plus we have the Gaia's Cradle in hand. This Glen kind of stinks, to be honest with you. I don't know a good way to minimize the damage here from this Edric. Let's cast Black Lotus. All right, opponent just lets that resolve as well. Now we can get Zealous Conscript out and steal the Glen. We still have a land drop, which means if we steal the Glen, they can't activate, and we can use this K command. Oh, they have another counter spell? They have Mana Drain again? All right, well, they're going to get the 5 mana this time, that's for sure. And they still have a blue up for Glen. I mean, we'll attack as Voltaic Charge Visionary cannot block. And I'm happy to take a counter off of Glen with this block here. We can save our Visionary here by casting K command. And if the opponent wants to counter it, then Visionary will live. So let's actually get our use K command to deal 2 to Glen and put this Zealous Conscript back in our hand. Opponent should counter this here. They do. So our Visionary lives, but their Glen will still survive. And we'll have to pass the turn. And opponent's going to draw at least 2 cards next turn off of Edric. Means they'll draw a Mole Drifter. I wonder if they can use this mana that they just got off of Mana Drain. So there's the Edric. They have a million, so I mean they could cast Eldrazi right now. All right, they can't use it. They're in card draw mode, but we are down to 7, so this is 3 damage. Not ideal. I think our opponent's just gonna have too many threats on the battlefield for us to deal with here. So here's a Courser. There's a Jite on top. All right. We know they have the Mole Drifter in hand to get that Jite. And they hard cast the Mole Drifter. All right. Oh, they put the Jite away by what? Sacking Prismatic Vista? Interesting. I've seen enough. They're going to draw a million cards. I don't have anything out of this, I don't think. Well, let's see what our card draw is. Pest Infestation. Actually, no, the Exalted on the Mole Drifter is enough. The Pest Infestation could have bought us a little bit here because we could Pest Infestation for like 3. A little sloppy on us. We should have gotten rid of that Oracle when we could, and we kind of paid the price there. So let's head into the finals. Match 3, game 3. We're going to be on the play, and let's see if this Jund Lotus deck can bring down the trophy. And this hand is a Snap Keep 1-drop. 2-drop into Dark Confident. No power, so no real acceleration. We do have Cradle, though, which can help. And we'll just lead out Grim Lavamancer and pass. Islands into Soul Ring from the opponent. Don't love to see that. We're going to have to give our opponent a turn with Soul Ring. We can get Bob down and get in for 1 point of damage here off the Lava Man. All right, well, we're in hard mode here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, opponent doesn't have a turn 2 play. They could be holding up Venser. Well, we can play Vraska right now if we want to. They could be holding up Mana Drain. I mean, we're running into counter magic. All right, that's about the worst thing that could happen. I mean, we did it to ourselves. They were showing counter magic. We could have passed. I don't know. That Soul Ring's pretty dangerous, but now they're going to have 7, possibly 8 mana this turn. We have a lot of removal in hand. Creature removal too. All right, Sylvan, can't get through that. So there's that. Okay, into Wormcoil. Yeah, definitely punished. We draw a Skull Clamp and a Mana Vault. I mean, that helps. So we can kill the Wormcoil here if we want to by evoking the Fury and then tapping the Lava Man. I think I just want to get a couple more cards. All right, there's K Command. I want to destroy Wormcoil here. Let's destroy Wormcoil, as that is a big threat. I can deal with the 3/3 tokens, and we'll just make opponent discard a card. They only got 2 cards in hand. Soul Ring's not scary if they got no cards. They ditch a Prismatic Vista. So we still have the 2 Worm tokens. We can take care of some of that, though, next turn, I believe. I think we're at 12, though. They're going to attack in for 6. So I guess the question is, do we evoke right now? If we evoke right now, we know we won't take 6. I don't think we can take 6. So let's evoke right now, as painful as that feels. I guess we'll ditch the conscripts. That'll leave us with Incinerate and Glorybringer to handle these remaining tokens. Yeah, I don't want to lose a lot of life here because we have Bob on the battlefield. So I didn't want to take 6 and then get hit with Bob. So opponent gets in there with the Death Toucher. I will just take that because I do want to draw some cards off of Bob here. Into Glenn. All right. There's an Unholy Heat as well. I want to attach the Skull Clamp to Dark Confidant here. I don't want to lose any more life, and that'll be 2 extra cards anyways. We'll play the Ignoble Hierarch. It's free with Gaia's Cradle. We'll attach up the Skull Clamp to Dark Confidant. Let's get our 2 cards, see what options we got. Bone Shards and another land. So we have 4 mana available. I need to deal with, honestly, both Glenn and the Worm token. If we get 1 more card type into our graveyard, Unholy Heat will cast for 6. I think we have Creature, K-Command is an instant, and Planeswalker. So if we get Bone Shards into our graveyard, Unholy Heat will cast for 6. And I think, honestly, we just discard a land to the Unholy Heat. Can play the Mana Vault here. This is tough. We're kind of on the ropes here going into that Mana Drain Soul Ring from our opponent into Wormcoil. But I feel like we have options here to figure this one out. So let's cast Bone Shards. We'll ditch the land, targeting the Wormcoil. If Glenn wants to counter this, now this is a punt. So in response to Glenn's Persist trigger, I should have cast Unholy Heat on the Wormcoil because I missed that the Sylvan Caryatid can still tap right now. And now we're going to lose 3 more life because of it. So punt counter's rolling here. We are not doing ourselves any favors to try to win this game. So we just got to take this. I don't want to block with a Hierarch. I want to equip Skull Clamp to it to get 2 more cards. We are not going to pay for Mana Vault this turn. Soon we will have to, though, I think. So we draw land. So this will let us get out Glorybringer. So now we can exert on the token. Glowbringer's going to hit for 5. Actually, I'm not going to Skull Clamp the Ignoble here because we're holding up Unholy Heat, which is pretty good. And a 5/5 flying attacker, not bad. All right, Smuggler's Copter from the opponent. I think we need to untap this Mana Vault, unfortunately. I don't want to take any more damage off this thing. Pyromancer is another great draw. I don't want to cast it yet, though. Interesting decision here, I think, to clamp up the Glorybringer. I think it's better to clamp up the Ignoble Hierarch. I don't know what that attack was about. That was weird. This last game is sloppy, folks. I'm sorry. Opponent cast Ewit. Where is he going to get back? Mana Drain? No, they're going to get back Glenn. That's a little greedy, I think. I think in this situation, I get back Mana Drain and have the counterspell available now, as I'm expecting them to crew the Smuggler's Copter. So they'll crew the Copter, and we're definitely going to Unholy Heat this thing. They can't use Glenn, so that works out. Now, Glenn is a threat as a flyer, but we also have our Dragon. See what we draw. I hope we just draw land. Ooh, Voltaic Visionary. I think I'd rather just get 2 new cards and a token here. So let's play Pyromancer. So we'll ditch the Visionary here. I don't want to lose the life to Visionary anyways. We get Kroxa Blood Crypt. We have 1 million cards in our graveyard, so we can definitely escape the Kroxa. We cannot escape Kroxa this turn, however. We can just cast Kroxa. So we can attack with the Glorybringer. Glorybringer will attack for 6. Let's draw a card first here off that token. All right, 2 more cards. Proving Ground and Mountain. Let's re-equip our Skull Clamp. And I think we either attack and exert or we just attack. I think we attack and exert the Glen here. As if they would like to block, now they'll lose Glen entirely. Or our opponent can just take 6 as well. Because they don't know we have the Kroxa in hand. And the Kroxa is going to deal some more damage to them. Let's play our land. Let's play our Kroxa. That'll be 3 more damage. And let's actually, I think, let's cycle this Proving Ground. It's basically free here with the library. Oh, whoa, and we draw Black Lotus? Wait, no, now I think we can win this turn. Because now we have the mana available to escape Kroxa, and opponent's down at 2. Yeah, opponent should have blocked the Glorybringer. I mean, they didn't know that. I cannot believe we found a winning line here on this turn, to be honest with you. Our play was super sloppy. But Kroxa coming down for 6 kind of surprise damage. And we did it. I think we kind of stole a trophy there that game. Wow. All right. So Jund Lotus, that was a great deck and a lot of fun to play, even though, man, it was super sloppy play. We happened to sneak one in there. So with that, thanks for hanging. Thanks for chilling with me here. Don't touch that dial and let's keep cubing.